Hi, I'm Nick Wilson here in Toronto at the Film Festival, and I'm pretty excited because today I get to meet indie filmmaker and effects wizard Gareth Edwards, director of Monsters. The story goes, he went to Mexico with nothing but an HD camera, 35mm lenses, a sound guy, and 2 paid actors, and now he's being called the next Matt Reeves. So I'm going to find out if that story is true and maybe what he's doing next. Hi, Gareth Edwards.
Hello.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me.
If you could just start off by synopsizing the story of the film, Monsters, and how you came up with it.
It begins pretty much where all monster movies normally end. Like, it's set years down the line. Like, the classic way to explain it is that if Cloverfield is like a September 11th event, then this is more like the war on terror in Afghanistan. Like, years later, somewhere the other side of the world, no one cares about it. And basically, it's the story of a war photographer who's in this area covering the events, and he has to go and get his boss's daughter back to America. And so it's kind of a road movie with a sort of love story in a world with monsters.
What is that?
So the story is that you basically went on an extended vacation to Belize, Guatemala, and Mexico with a sound man and 2 actors and shot the whole thing yourself, then did all the VFX yourself. Is that the true story?
I did a few TV shows, and I hated... Basically, you end up with like 50 people as your crew, and you suddenly decide you want to shoot over here, or the light starts doing something interesting, you want to adapt. And it takes half an hour to move all these people. It's like herding sheep. And we shot with this tiny crew, and it was me on the camera. We were in a van, basically, and we would drive along. We had the script, which wasn't even a script. It was like a paragraph that represented each scene. And we'd drive along, and we'd have... Every time we saw something interesting, we would pull out a page, figure out what scene we could shoot there, have a quick chat about it, or sometimes we wouldn't because we didn't want it to be over-rehearsed. And then I would jump out with the sound man, and then just around the corner usually would be the line producer and his Mexican equivalent that would be on the phone trying to figure out the next place we're going to go to or get permission. If someone walked past camera and I got them in shot, I'd do a little signal and they'd run after him or her and get them to sign a release form and stuff. But everyone in the movie, apart from the 2 actors, Scoot and Whitney, are pretty much real people that we just bumped into as we were traveling.
It's amazing. Everyone
that's in the movie with a gun in the daylight are the bodyguards that the government provided for free, so that we wouldn't get kidnapped or shot and things.
So if you shoot a movie in Mexico, the government gives you free bodyguards?
The line producer kept it really quiet. He didn't want to worry everyone. And so we were filming, and on like day 2, I noticed basically these guys have the guns, and they're watching everything else apart from us. And I was thinking, this is brilliant. This really helps our film. Makes everything look like it's a militarized zone. So I was moving the camera back to try and get some of their gun into shot as we were filming the actors and stuff. And every time I'd do this, he'd think, oh, I'm in shot, and he'd move out of the way. So I kept circling him, trying to get him back in frame, and eventually realized, oh, he wants me to be in the movie. And then they kind of enjoyed it. And then the next day, I started doing the same thing again. And I looked at the guy's face and realized this is the same guy as yesterday. And then realized that, I spoke to the line producer, like, what's going on? Why is this guy following us with the guns? And they were like, oh, the government give us, like, basically, they're our protection to make sure nothing bad happens. And
wow. How did you design the monsters?
If you ask a scientist, like, where's the most realistic place we'll find alien life, a lot of them will say that there's this moon called Europa that's just by Jupiter, and there's cracked ice on the surface that's moving, which means that inside is this liquid ocean, which is the same conditions, basically, where life began on Earth. And they believe that there's every chance that inside there are, like, could be the life forms that you get at the bottom of the ocean. So I tried to basically NASA were planning a mission to go and have a look to see if there was life. And I just figured, well, if they brought back a sample and then the spaceship crashed, then that could be the beginnings of the monster movie. Basically, I looked at like octopus, crabs, bioluminescence, all the sorts of things you get at the bottom of the ocean. And it took me about a year to design the creature. It just took forever. It was... in my spare time, I just kept doodling, and I ended up with thousands of sketches. And then I picked 140 of my favourite ones, and we put them all on the wall at the production company. And I let the producers pick, because I was completely blind to it. And they sat there for 20 minutes or so without saying a word and not picking any of them. And in the end, I just went, oh, that's my favourite one. And they were like, yeah, okay, do that one.